My love, there is one sentence, and when a man says it to you, it can completely shift the dynamic between you. By the end of this talk, I will reveal exactly what that sentence is and why it has the power to turn a man who was only hovering around you into someone who is fully captivated by you. But before we get there, you need to understand something fundamental that will entirely change the way you see and handle relationships from this moment forward. I will speak to you directly without softening the truth. At my age, I no longer have time to dress honesty up to make it pleasant. Here is your first practical lesson for today. If a man shows interest in you but never truly chooses you, then you should not choose him either. It really is that simple. Hold that close to your heart. This is not a lack of self-love. It is emotional intelligence in its purest form. And if you stay with me for a few more minutes, you will not only learn what men actually say when they are genuinely interested, but also how to recognize in real time whether they see you as a priority or merely another option. And before we continue, if what I have said so far resonates with you even slightly, leave a comment and tell me where you are watching from. Whether it is Mexico, Colombia, Spain, or anywhere else in the world where women are exhausted from settling for crumbs. And if you know someone, a friend, a sister, or a colleague who needs to hear this, share this message with her. What we are discussing today is not only for you, it is for all of us, reclaiming our inner power. Let me share something that has become undeniably clear to me after more than 40 years of working with people, listening to endless stories, and witnessing emotional highs and lows. Women are incredibly intelligent when it comes to solving complex problems, planning ahead, and reading between the lines. But when it comes to understanding the signals of a man they like, that intelligence often seems to vanish. Do you know why? Because confirmation bias steps in. In simple words, you see what you want to see. When you like a man, your mind searches desperately for even the smallest signs that he likes you back. A text sent at 11 at night suddenly feels like a declaration of love. A fleeting glance becomes a cosmic bond. A casual, "we will talk later" starts to sound like a promise of a shared future. My love, that is not intuition. That is self-deception dressed up beautifully. I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm saying it so you can wake up from the illusion. If you want healthy, mature relationships where you do not have to beg for attention or plead for clarity, here is the uncomfortable truth that very few people are willing to say. A man who is genuinely interested in you does not make you guess. He does not leave you waiting until it suits him. He does not appear and disappear like a shadow in the dark. A man who truly wants you is clear, consistent, and makes you feel chosen, not lucky that he remembered you exist. And this is not just romantic advice, it is biology. When a man is emotionally invested in you, his brain releases oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, a chemical cascade that naturally drives him to seek you out, spend time with you, and invest energy in your connection. He does not need reminders or pressure. His nervous system pulls him toward you. That is how desire works at its core. So if you find yourself constantly reminding him you exist, always initiating conversations, always working to keep his attention, let me gently tell you this. He is not genuinely interested. He is bored. He is available for distraction, but he is not choosing you, and you deserve far more than being someone's backup plan. That does not mean you should become passive and wait silently for men to fall at your feet. This is not about playing games or using manipulative tricks you read online. It is about something much deeper and far more powerful. It is about choosing yourself first. When you choose yourself, when you decide that your time, energy, and self-respect are not negotiable, your presence changes completely. And I do not mean vague energy or abstract attraction theories. I mean something very real. When you value yourself, you radiate confidence, and confidence is the strongest attraction there is, far stronger than any perfume or outfit. A man can feel when a woman knows her worth, knows what she wants, and knows what she will not tolerate. And believe me, that unsettles him in the most compelling way. I have seen it thousands of times. A woman comes to me heartbroken because the man she has been texting for months suddenly vanishes. She questions herself endlessly. What did I do wrong? What should I have said? How could I have prevented this? And then, at some point, she lets go. She stops chasing someone who does not value her and starts focusing on herself, her goals, and her life. And often, that same man returns. But here is the twist. By then, she is no longer interested. In letting go, she has found something far more precious: her own power. A woman who knows her power accepts nothing less than what she truly deserves. That is real transformation. It is not about getting a man. It is about becoming a woman who only allows men who rise to her level. And once you reach that point, everything shifts. But let us return to the practical side, because I know you are thinking, yes, this sounds good, but I want to know what men actually say and do when they are truly interested. That is exactly what we are breaking down now. A man who is genuinely interested talks about the future. He uses language that includes both of you. He speaks about plans and experiences he wants to share with you. He does not make unrealistic promises, but he naturally includes you in his vision of life. He might say things like, "Next weekend when we go there," or "I want you to meet someone important to me." These small phrases matter. They show inclusion. Men who are just passing through avoid future talk and stay in a vague present. "We will see," or "maybe later," keeps you suspended. A man who takes you seriously does not leave you there. A genuinely interested man also asks questions, not surface-level ones, but real questions about your past, your dreams, your fears, and what makes you laugh or frustrates you. Most importantly, he remembers what you share. Anyone can ask questions to be polite, but a man who cares remembers the answers. He follows up. He checks in. That is true interest. And finally, when a man is serious, he brings you into his world. He introduces you to friends, includes you socially, and acknowledges you openly. If months pass and you remain hidden, the message is clear. It is not privacy, it is priority. And recognizing that early protects your heart. Does he make you feel appreciated? Or does he grow careless, self-centered, and emotionally distant? I have witnessed this scenario countless times. Many men are able to show their best behavior during the chase, but the man who truly belongs with you is the one who continues to treat you well when he no longer needs to impress you. That is the man worthy of your time, the one who treats you with care, not to win you over, but because he genuinely values you. And since we are talking about appreciation, let us address a common question. How do you know if a man truly respects you? Respect is the backbone of every healthy relationship. Without it, nothing endures. You may have chemistry, passion, and attraction, but without respect, a relationship will either collapse or become emotionally damaging. Respect is shown through behavior. A man who respects you listens even when he disagrees. He does not interrupt, ridicule, or diminish you simply because your views differ. He respects your time. He does not cancel plans without reason, repeatedly arrive late, or leave you waiting for replies while clearly available. He protects your reputation. He does not speak badly about you or reveal private matters. He honors your boundaries. When something makes you uncomfortable, he respects it. He does not manipulate your emotions to get what he wants. A man who respects you stands beside you. He does not abandon you when someone disrespects you. He does not remain silent when others speak poorly of you. And here is something important. Respect is not something you negotiate or beg for. You establish the standard from the beginning. You decide what you will tolerate and what you will not. You enforce it with actions, not just words. Saying you will not accept something means nothing if you stay when it happens. Many women make this mistake. They create boundaries in theory that fall apart at the first test, then wonder why they are not respected. No one respects boundaries you do not respect yourself. If you say you will leave when lines are crossed and you do not, you lose credibility. And in relationships, credibility matters. Ask yourself honestly, do your actions align with your words? Saying you deserve respect is one thing. Living as though you believe it is another. Acting with belief means speaking up when something feels wrong, stopping behavior that crosses a line and walking away when a man fails to treat you as you deserve. Simple, yet deeply challenging. I know how difficult it is to let go of someone you are drawn to, someone with whom you share rare chemistry. But the truth is this: staying with someone who does not value you is far more painful than leaving someone who is not right for you. The pain of staying is gradual. It wears you down piece by piece, slowly eroding your self-worth and making you question whether you deserve better. The pain of leaving is intense but brief. It hurts sharply, then gives way to freedom, clarity, and peace. Now we arrive at what I promised earlier, a sentence that, when genuinely meant by a man, signals a meaningful emotional shift. First, understand the context. Men are often less emotionally expressive than women. Many are taught to hide vulnerability and avoid appearing sentimental. That is why this moment matters. When a man pushes past that barrier and says something that opens him emotionally, it carries weight. This does not mean you should overlook bad behavior because of kind words, but certain statements reveal a deeper connection. One phrase that is often underestimated is, "You make me want to be a better man." Listen closely. When a man says this, when he admits your presence motivates him to grow and evolve, it is powerful. In that moment, he assigns you transformative value in his life. Men do not say this casually. They do not say it to someone they see as temporary. They say it to the woman who challenges them, inspires them, and brings out a better version of themselves. That is a clear sign you matter deeply to him. But be cautious. Just because he says it does not mean commitment is guaranteed. It signals connection, not ownership. Moving toward a healthy, lasting relationship requires consistent actions. This happens often. Some men use beautiful words to keep you emotionally invested while they decide what they want. They say what sounds right, make you feel special, but withdraw when responsibility appears. This is where wisdom is required. Words without action are poetry, not truth. Be glad when meaningful things are said, but stay observant. Watch whether his behavior supports his promises. Other phrases are revealing as well. When a man says, "I have never met anyone like you," and truly means it, it shows you have broken his patterns. You no longer fit his old categories. You have brought something real and unexpected into his life. Men often have an idea of their ideal partner. When you disrupt that image with authenticity, intelligence, and individuality, you leave a lasting impression. Context matters. Said too early, it may be rehearsed. Said after real time, shared moments, and genuine connection, it holds substance. Another meaningful phrase is, "I trust you." It sounds simple, but trust is significant for men. Opening emotionally is difficult, and real trust is rare. When a man says this, he is letting you into a protected space. He sees you as safe. In his world, that is valuable. Then there are the familiar words, "I like you," or "I love you." These phrases have lost depth through repetition. Many people say them out of habit. Focus less on the words and more on timing, tone, and behavior. Love is not constant excitement. Real love shows up on ordinary days, in small decisions, in choosing each other when it is inconvenient. Another revealing statement is wanting to meet family or introduce you to his. That signals integration. Men do not involve family casually. It shows he sees potential. Still, do not assume the future based on one gesture. Look for consistency. Many ask how long it takes to know if a man is serious. There is no fixed answer. Some know in months, others never decide. What matters is that you choose your timeline. You can state your desire for commitment clearly. That is not pressure, it is self-respect. Here is a difficult truth. If a man truly wants something with you, he does not need years to decide. He does not need to find himself while you wait. A mature man acts when he meets someone who matters. He makes intentions clear and integrates you into his life. If you have been with someone for a long time who still does not know what he wants, understand this gently. He knows. He simply does not want it with you. Perhaps he wants comfort or familiarity, but not commitment. Meanwhile, you are investing in someone who is not choosing you. How long will you accept fragments when you deserve fullness? If this resonates, share it with someone who needs it. This is not just advice. It is a step toward change. When women understand this, they stop settling. Now, shift your focus. Become the woman emotionally healthy men value, not by changing who you are, but by strengthening your core. You cannot control a man's choices, but you can control who you become, how you show up, and the energy you carry. And that changes everything. Step 1. Work on your self-worth. And I don't mean the shallow kind based on likes and compliments. I mean a true inner sense of value. A woman with healthy self-worth doesn't need constant silence validation. She doesn't check her phone every 5 minutes for a text. She doesn't read meaning into silence. She knows her worth whether he acknowledges it or not. That inner silence certainty is magnetic. It draws mature men and repels the immature ones' silence exactly what you want. How do you build that self-worth? Not overnight, and not with a couple of affirmations in front of a mirror. It's developed through steady self-care. Treat yourself well, speak kindly to yourself, and make yourself a priority. Your brain notices step by step and begins to believe you are truly valuable. That's neuroplasticity in action. Your thoughts and actions literally rewire your brain. Silence. Each time you protect yourself, each time you set a boundary, you reinforce self-respect. Step 2. Build your own life. Nothing kills a man's interest faster than a woman whose world revolves entirely around him. If your happiness depends on whether he texts or calls, if it depends on his attention, you become predictable and, forgive silence my honesty, a little boring. Men are naturally drawn to women who have their own lives, passions, goals, friendships, silence, and projects. It shows that you are a complete person, not someone waiting for another half to make you whole. And here's something that might surprise you. When you focus silence on your own life and are busy becoming the best version of yourself, you automatically become more attractive, not because you're playing hard silence to get, but simply because your time and energy are valuable, and frankly, you have better things to do than silence chase a man. The third point is to learn to communicate effectively. This silence is critical. Many women complain that men don't understand what silence they need. When I ask if they've clearly communicated it, the answer is often no. Instead, they expect him to know silence automatically. If he really loved me, he'd notice. My dear reader, that's not communication. That's magical silence thinking. Men aren't mind readers. If you need something, say it. Silence. If something bothers you, express it clearly and respectfully. There's a big difference, silence, between you, never pay attention to me. All you care about is your friends. And lately, I feel like we aren't spending much time together, and I'd love for us to have more shared moments. The first blames. Silence. The second opens the door to change. Guess which works better? Fourth, don't lose your independence. This is a common mistake. A relationship begins and suddenly a woman gives up the things silence that mattered to her. She stops seeing her friends because he doesn't like them, abandons her hobbies because he doesn't silence share them, adopts his opinions and style believing that's how she'll keep him. This is a fatal silence error. All she achieves is that he loses interest because she is no longer the fascinating, silent, self-sufficient woman he fell for in the first place. Keep your friendships, your silence interests, your individuality. A healthy relationship is not fusion. It's two whole people choosing to share their lives without losing themselves. And now something that sparks debate but must be silence said. Stop chasing men. Seriously, stop being the one who always texts first, makes all the plans, and is constantly available. I'm not talking about playing games or acting aloof. I'm saying that if you're the only one putting effort into keeping the relationship alive, something is wrong. In a healthy relationship, both people row the boat. Both invest. Both reach out. If you're the only one doing the work, you teach him he can have you without effort. Silence. And what comes without effort is rarely valued. It's simple biology. We value what costs us something, what we work for, not what silence falls into our laps. Step back and watch what happens when you stop being the one who always texts silence first, organizes dates, or keeps conversations alive. If he doesn't take initiative, silence, or show real interest, you have your answer. Yes, it hurts, but better to see it now than after years' silence of giving your time and heart to someone who isn't fully choosing you. The beautiful part of stepping silence back is that you create space for someone who truly values you, who makes an effort and consciously silence chooses you. As long as you invest in someone who doesn't reciprocate, there's no room for the one who would. Many women fail to understand a simple but crucial distinction: the difference between attracting silence and chasing. Attracting means being so fulfilled, confident, and interesting that the right men naturally gravitate silence toward you. Chasing means running after someone to convince him to choose you. The woman who attracts doesn't beg for attention. She draws it effortlessly. The woman who silence chases loses herself trying to be enough for someone who has already decided she isn't. If you recognize yourself in the second silence type, don't be hard on yourself. We've all been there. But now that you understand, you can consciously choose differently. Here's the silence paradox. The moment you stop chasing, the moment you focus on yourself, set clear boundaries, and recognize your worth, silence, everything changes. Suddenly the men who once ignored you begin to appear. It's not magic, it's energy. You no longer radiate neediness. You radiate inner abundance, and abundance is irresistible. Silence. A man can sense when a woman is whole, when she doesn't need him to be happy, but chooses him because he enriches her life. That's very different from a woman who needs someone to fill her emptiness or distract her from loneliness. Ask yourself honestly, are you choosing or clinging? Choosing is an act of freedom and strength. Clinging is an act of fear. The woman who chooses knows she'll be fine with or without breathes him. The one who clings believes silence that without him, nothing makes sense. No healthy relationship is silence born from fear. True love comes from freedom, conscious choice, and a desire to share life, not from needing to be completed. Healthy relationships also require recognizing red flags, silence early. Some men act from unhealthy places, showing controlling behavior, wanting to know where you are constantly, silence, getting jealous if you don't respond immediately, or trying to isolate you from friends. That's not love. It's silence possessiveness. And possessiveness is the beginning of abuse. Others show insecurity by criticizing silence you constantly, downplaying your successes, comparing you to others, or manipulating you emotionally. Silence. If you find yourself doubting your sanity, apologizing constantly, and believing everything is silence your fault, you're in a cycle of emotional abuse known as gaslighting. Recognize these patterns and leave. Don't wait for him to change. Silence. You cannot heal anyone with your love. People only change if they truly want to. Silence, and many never do. Your responsibility is to yourself, your mental silence and emotional health. Maybe you feel discomfort reading this or recognize patterns from your past. That's good. It means silence, you're ready to change. Change hurts, but it is necessary for growth. And if you're wondering whether your standards silence are too high, hear this. Having standards is not being difficult, it's self-respect. Standards mean knowing your worth and refusing to settle for less. That's not ego, that's self-love. In the end, it's not about impressing someone or forcing love. Silence. It's about returning to yourself, recognizing your value, and understanding that true connection happens only when two whole people meet. When you respect yourself, silence know your boundaries, and refuse to settle for half-truths, you build relationships from silence strength, not lack. You no longer live in fear of abandonment because you know your worth doesn't depend on whether someone stays silent or leaves. You become the woman who chooses, not the one who hopes. And that, my dear reader, is silence the essence of this journey. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. You just have to believe it yourself. When you choose yourself, the quality of people in your life changes. Men who want to keep you small drift away, and men who truly value you will silence you. In the end, love is not a game of control or power. Silence. It's the meeting of two people who see, respect, and allow each other to grow. And when you reach that point, silence, you no longer ask, will he choose me? You ask, do I choose him? And that, my dear reader, is freedom.